Jai Gurudev. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, we can identify the theme of renunciation. A theme which people either don't want to hear or often also misinterpret. Krishna has spoken about attachment as one of the root causes to suffering, as it brings inevitably along desires, greed and anger. Controlling the mind, which seems such a difficult task, is possible by continuous practice and non-attachment or renunciation. In essence, he speaks about the renunciation of wrong identification. Identification with our body, mind, thoughts, feelings, emotions, circumstances, etc. In short, identification with the external world. Instead, we should identify with the divine self, doing our duty, keeping to righteousness and striving for spiritual enlightenment. Even Arjuna, who represents all of us, all of humanity, is confused regarding the idea of renunciation. He finds himself in a dilemma, in a difficult situation, like we all so often do. And if it would be up to him, he would prefer to run away from that situation. Sounds familiar? Because Krishna speaks about the importance of spiritual enlightenment, he thinks that Krishna encourages him to run away. He has the idea that one must renounce all material duties, all material goods, and retire to an ashram, to the forest or to a cave to get to this enlightenment. Many think like that, isn't it? I want to go and live in an ashram. Let me run from the challenges of this world and dedicate to a pure spiritual pursuit. Do you think sometimes like that? I must say that most of the times this thinking is just a fantasy, an idealism, and rarely a sincere calling. Like in Arjun's case, we often just don't want to face certain situations or difficulties and therefore take spirituality as an excuse, almost as a way to hide from what we have to face. The point is that you can't run from yourself. What you have to face and overcome, you have to go through, sooner or later. For example, have you ever been in a relationship where things didn't work out and years later you found yourself in another relationship with the same or similar problems? I guess we all know that in one way or in another, life will always push us to overcome our limitations and to reach new limits. In that sense, Arjuna asks in chapter 18 one final time, what is better, external renunciation or internal one? Krishna elaborates on this and says that such actions as charity, sacrifice and austerity should never be given up, as they are means for our purification. But as explained in previous videos, they should be done without expectation and attachment to the fruits or outcome. He says in chapter 18 verse 7, action that have been prescribed should never be given up. Renouncing such actions through ignorance is tamasic in nature. To renounce the above mentioned activities, namely charity, sacrifice and austerity, is a wrong renunciation. It is a renunciation born out of ignorance or out of the guna of tamas. Further he says in chapter 18 verse 8, if one renounces actions because it is painful or brings suffering to the body, it is born of rajas and does not yield the fruit of renunciation. How often are we not willing to serve, act or practice because it threatens or disturbs our comfort zone? You can see this in many things. It is basically an egoism. It's all about my well-being, my comfort, my pleasure, not about a general well-being. I observe that often in the ashram when people do seva. People are often enthusiastic in the beginning, but when it doesn't benefit them personally, when they don't like it anymore, or when they don't feel personal satisfaction, they stop. And lastly, he says in chapter 18 verse 9, but when prescribed action is performed as a matter of duty, giving up attachment to it, as well as its fruits, such renunciation is regarded as sattvic. So here we can see that a pure and uplifting renunciation is not the running away from the duties in life, but to perform the actions with a sense of duty, independent if it's pleasant or unpleasant, without the attachment to its results. It is of course okay to change one's professions and life circumstances if it's done in the right spirit, if it is not an attempt to run from yourself and from the challenges you have to face. Even though Krishna speaks especially about prescribed actions like charity, sacrifice and austerity, this concept can nevertheless be applied to anything in our life, as we should act always with a spirit of sacrifice for our spiritual growth and as a betterment for the world. In chapter 18 verse 10 he says, "The one who is established in sattva is wise and free from doubts. He neither hates unpleasant work, nor does he become attached to the work which is pleasant." So when you feel like running from your present life because it is overwhelming, wait a moment, take a deep breath and let Krishna's instruction sink into your consciousness. Is your attempt of renouncing an act of weakness, egoism, or because it's truly benefiting yourself and others? I'm looking forward to hear your experiences and lessons regarding renunciation. We will carry on analyzing some other aspects of life in relation to the three gunas, so stay tuned and I look forward to see you next time. Jai Gurudev. Yes, and of course, subscribe, like and share.